Hello and welcome to the Edupedia world. Today we'll continue learning something more about abstract classes and interface. In previous tutorial, we have studied theoretically what are abstract classes and what are interface. In this tutorial, we'll be covering up some live examples. So let's open our Eclipse IDE and let's try to do some of the examples. So this is the Eclipse IDE. Here I'll be doing an example of abstract classes and interface. So let me create a class over here. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a class and the name of the class that I'm giving is shape. Fine. So shape is my class. And now let me define some of the methods in the class shape. My first method will be void draw. Fine. And I'm creating shape as my abstract class. So the methods that I'll be creating within this will be the abstract methods. So that's why I'm not writing that definition. So if I do that, it give me an option to either add body or change the shape.draw to abstract. So I'm going to change the method to abstract. And if I do change it to abstract, then I need to change the class also to abstract. So basically now I have a public abstract class shape. Then I have a method abstract void draw. And this draw method I do have like draw method for which I'll be providing the implementation in the concrete classes. Now let me create another method in this. So my next method is abstract void color. Fine. So these are two methods which I have defined in my abstract class, and now since I have created shape as an abstract class because it has two methods, I want to do two things, that is to draw and to color. But I'm not sure like what shape it is. So that's the reason like I'm not sure which shape it is. So now let me just go and create the concrete classes for the class shape. So I'm going to like right click new and class. Here I'm going to create a class called rectangle. Fine. Now let me extend class shape in that. So you see if I do that in Eclipse, it will give me an error and it will say add unimplemented methods. So basically I need to add those methods void draw and void color with the definition. Now if I don't want to write anything inside it, I can leave it as it is, but since it's a rectangle class, I would like to, write something into it, and I want to like draw a rectangle over here. So yeah, actually I'm not literally drawing a rectangle over here right now, but I'm going to simply print it out like what I am doing. So I'll be just printing, drawing a rectangle. Fine. And in color I'll be printing color my rectangle. Fine. So these are my implementation classes. Similarly, I can also create other classes. For example, I can create a class circle. So if I do that and I'll be extending, so sorry. Yeah, I'll doing extend shape. Fine. So again, if I like do that, it will be shape. Yeah, if I do that, it will again ask me to add the implementation. Why so? Because both of these are implement methods which I have to implement, and if I want implement, I have to again change my class to an abstract class. So yeah, I'll be providing a concrete implementation for these, and I just change it to drawing to a circle, and over here I'll be like coloring the circle. Fine. So similarly, you can also implement square, hexagon, and various other shapes and provide the different implementation according to the abstract classes. what if, I don't want to apply the implementation of color over here. I don't want to apply the implementation of color in this. I'm not wanting to, I don't need to apply, I don't need to fill circle with the color. So one thing is that there are two things that I can do. Either is like I should not, write anything inside the color method. I should give a blank implementation. Fine. So this is also fine with me, but yeah, I don't want to give a blank implementation. Why to increase the lines of code? Okay. So let me just remove it. Now you will say it will give me an error. Why so? Because it is saying me to add unimplemented methods where I don't want to implement color. So in that case, what I can do is I can make my circle classes abstract. Okay. So this is how it is done. But now since I have made my abstract class, circle classes abstract, I cannot create a object of circle class. In order to create an object of circle class, I need another class which will, implement which will basically extend this class, and then I can create an object. So over here, like this is a thing I just want to show you. Like if you don't implement all the methods of an abstract class, then you have to make your class abstract. Otherwise, it will give you an error. But over here, I do want to create the object of circle class. So I just, undo my changes and yeah, I can keep my color as blank since I don't want to provide the implementation of color over here. And I know I won't be calling it, so it's fine to keep it blank. Okay, now let me just call these methods. So what you can do again is like you can create a class, and the class that I'm creating is main abstract. Fine. And I'll be adding the main method inside it. So over here I can actually create objects. So if I just try to create a object of shape, it should give me an error according to the rules of abstract classes. So what you can do, you can basically initiate the type rectangle or circle. So that would be fine. Okay, so I can do this. This is giving me no error, and then I can call the method rec.draw and rec.color. So it's absolutely fine. Similarly, I can create the like circle object with shape reference. So I can call draw or color. So I'm going to just call draw over here. So this is how abstract class is implemented. Fine. And now there are a few more important things that I would like to talk about because those are some of the important points. Although I haven't, showed you those in slide, but now I'm going to implement that using an example and you'll see how you can do that. Okay, so my first point is, can abstract class have a constructor? Well, actually, yes, abstract class can have a constructor. So let's try to create one in shape. Okay, so over here I'm doing shape, and basically I'm just printing out something in constructor so that I know whenever it gets called. So I'm printing out shape constructor. Okay, so this looks fine. And now let me also create a constructor in rectangle class. Fine, so this is again fine. Okay, let me just try to now run my example and see what's the output. Okay, it's still running, and yeah, so you see, first of all, the constructor of shape class got called and it's printing shape constructor. So that means our abstract class can have constructor, and its constructor actually get called whenever you create the object of any concrete class. So whenever I'm doing shape rect equals to new rectangle, so first of all, it's calling the constructor of shape class. So actually it happens like this. First of all, the constructor of rectangle class will get called. But as we have already seen in the concept of constructor, like the child class does call the constructor of superclass using an implicit supercall. So the rectangle class constructor will call the constructor of shape, and whatever we have printed inside that shape will get printed. So over here shape constructor will get printed. After that rectangle constructor will get printed. Fine, and once that is done, then I'm calling draw method. So this is like drawing a rectangle, then color my rectangle. After that, I'm again creating a object of a circle with reference of shape. So therefore, shape constructor again gets called, and then drawing a circle. I hope so. It's clear like how abstract class constructor is getting called every time whenever you create a object of subclass. Okay, so another thing I want to tell you is abstract class can implement a interface in Java. Fine. So yeah, so that I'm going to show you in another video in which I'll create a interface. But yeah, so we'll be try doing that as well. And then can abstract class have a static method? Well, actually yes, abstract class can have a static method, but usually it's not recommended. Why so? Because static methods are associated with the class at compile time. So let me just try doing that and show you how it's done. So since one thing is like I can make change this to static. Okay. Okay. If I do that, so you can see it's saying abstract method drawing type shape can only set a visibility modifier, one of public or protected. Okay. So I cannot have static over here, and again, so I cannot have a static abstract method. So either my method has to be like abstract or static. So let's try to even search it out. If you're not very sure like whether I should have that or not, so let's try. So I'm actually basically searching, can abstract method be static in Java? So the first key result that I'm getting is a thing. Why can't the static method be abstract in Java? So this is what we have already seen. Like we tried creating our method static, which was abstract, and it was giving us an error. But why so? So let's just check out the the functionality how it is done. It is because abstract means implements no functionality, and static means there is a functionality even if you don't have a object instance. That's right, because for static method you don't need to create a instance, but for abstract method you should create a concrete class and then you should create an implementation. So basically you cannot create a direct instance of abstract method. First point is that, and static does get called by the simply by calling the class name. And then whenever you create abstract method, that means it must have a implementation in concrete class. So if you make that as static, then how do you expect to write the implementation in concrete class, because static is anyway associated with that particular class, and over here like shape is an abstract class, it cannot have an object. So that's the logical contradiction. That's the reason like we cannot create a static abstract method. But yeah, we cannot actually create the abstract method as static, but we can have a static method which is like a normal method. So I'm going to like static void shade. Okay, so this is like a normal method that I'm creating, and in this what I'm doing is I'm just printing out shade the shape. Okay, so it looks good to me. Now what happened is like let me just go to main abstract class and um, call this. Okay, and now let me try to run it. Yeah, so it's giving me shape, which is absolutely fine. Okay, so see, it's giving me a warning, and why it's giving me a warning, it's saying the static method shade of the type shape should be accessed in a static way because it's a static method. So static way means just by using a class name. So now it's not giving me an warning. But you know why it is not recommended to use a static method is that's because static method cannot be overridden, but they can be overloaded. So if they cannot be overridden, so what happens is basically whenever you try to override a static method, it actually gets hidden. So for example, there's an abstract class and let there be, even if it's not abstract class, if it's a simple static method, then also if you try to override that method, it will actually get hidden. So like this is a shade, right? And I can override my shade method in my implementation class. So let me do that. Okay, let me rewrite it over here. Fine. So now when I'm doing that and I'm going back to main abstract and let me change this. Fine. So what do you think? Although I mean it's giving me a warning, but yeah, I can. It won't give me a compile time error if I just try to call it by the object of rect. What do you think will be the output over here right now? So let's just run it. See, okay, I didn't change it. Let me just change the text so that we can see the difference. So I'm typing over here, shade the rectangle, and in my shape class it is shade the shape. Fine. Now let me just see. So you can see it's still printing shade the shape. It's not printing shade the rectangle. Although I created an object of rectangle. So why so? That's because the static methods are actually attached with the class at compile time. So overriding happens at runtime. So at runtime the decision is made like whether to call the method of rectangle class or shape class. But in case of a static method, it's already tied down at the compile time with the reference. So over here the reference is shape. So the shade that we are calling is actually tied down with that. So that's why we don't actually recommend using a static method in abstract class. So I hope so that's clear. Okay, and another thing I want to tell you is can abstract class contain a main method? Well, it can. So let me just try to show you that also. So you see it's not giving me error and yeah, you can see it's not giving me error. It's perfectly fine. And let me just print something fine. So it's giving me no error. If I just try to run this shape class, so you can see it's not allowing me to, run it as an application. It's only giving me option of run configuration. So let me just try to figure it out. I mean, will I be able to run it or not? Okay, so let me just change this to shape. Fine. And shape. Okay. And apply and then run. So you can see you can actually have a main method and you can actually run it even if you have created an abstract class. So this is absolutely fine. So yeah guys, this was about creating a simple abstract class. In next video we'll create the interfaces and see how it's useful and where to use interface and where to use abstract class. Okay guys, so thank you very much. Let's meet in the next tutorial.